Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear SpongeBob. Happy birthday to you. Hello YouTube, this is Judging Game 44 here, and today we are here to review SpongeBob Big Birthday Day Blowout. So, let's discuss what this episode's about. This episode first starts off with Patchy the pirate getting ready to go to see SpongeBob and everything. And of course, he's going to bring a present. Anyway, what happens here is that we pretty much get to see him go around a few times with a few jokes here and there before we get into the SpongeBob episode, where then SpongeBob is pretty much introduced waking up with Gary with a present, which is nice. Patrick and everyone else is planning on getting SpongeBob out of the house so they get him a birthday party. So creative. Of course, there's been a lot of work that needs to be done, so they need SpongeBob out because it's a surprise birthday party. So Patrick takes SpongeBob to the surface world with the tour bus, which is pretty much a fish tank, which my mom said was actually a really creative idea how they thought of that. The bus actually being a fish tank. That was actually kind of great with wheels on. Nice. Besides all that, what happens, that's the main plot. The second plot is pretty much what actually called side plot, but it's actually about where the other characters that are still in the water are actually trying to get SpongeBob's house ready for the surprise birthday party. A lot of jokes here and there, and a lot of characters we've seen, and I didn't notice this, but I was watching a review of this video before I was making my own. They pointed out Mindy actually came in, which, that's actually great. Mindy from the movie, after all these years, has finally come into the cartoon. That's great. But besides all that, let's get into the other part. The main plot was actually starting to show if we get Francie, an error, we get that amazing guy again who keeps saying that, who pretty much first came out from the title some episode, I think that was called. He also appeared in a few other episodes, but this is also another he did. He was actually the tour guide for this, so that's great. So there's pretty much a lot of stuff that goes in here. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss all of them, but pretty much we get to see Frenchie from the episode back when SpongeBob and everyone was turned to real sea animals. We got pretty much David Hasselhoff, who came in for a couple jokes. We got Patchy the Pirate as well, like I mentioned. That was great. And finally, well, so we got a bunch of characters. Now, pretty much, what happens here is that we pretty much get a lot of jokes where they're driving throughout the surface, which I think we actually had the guy from also the fish from a way back early fishing episode. That one with the SpongeBob movie with the whole entire sea guy thing. I don't remember, but it was the guy with the yellow suit on. Besides all that, we get to see with Beans, which I have to admit, the Bean joke kind of went on for a little bit too long. But other than that, it was still great. We had a lot of good jokes here and there, where they were going around, which I'm pretty sure I'm not the first one to notice this, but in some scenes, the characters are not actually 2D animation, they're actually in CGI form. Which, that's kind of interesting, I guess. If anyone noticed that. As well, like if you see them driving around the tank and the characters are not in 2D animation thing. But besides all that, we get to see around. We also get to see them. They're passing Patchy around a couple times, and no one actually realized it. Well, actually, we did, but the characters didn't know that. And again, they don't know Patchy. So let's pretty much get into this. The main plot is that pretty much they're going around, and that's fun. Back at the Bikini Bottom, back in Bikini Bottom, the people who are trying to plan, they've been trying, but sadly nothing works and they keep failing. And the place gets torn up, and the house gets eventually destroyed. And during that whole entire time, we get to see a bunch of lots of characters throughout the show, which that was honestly really fun to see. It was really great, and eventually the house would rip apart with walls breaking down. Funny, I admit. Back on that, my favorite part was actually when they were pretty much going for the office with the gorilla thing. That was kind of funny. I was kind of surprised how they did that. A reference back to the gorilla episode when SpongeBob was afraid to go outside, but still. Anyway, we eventually cut to the part where the flabby, well, whatever you call it again, the slap, crabs, whatever you call it, thing. I actually forgot since I only seen it once. Okay, besides all that though, I do remember a lot of the jokes which we get to see what Sandy looks like, Squidward, which it was honestly really hilarious. Now, I have to admit, I thought we would be seeing this actually earlier on in the show, not in the last part, but it was still funny, nonetheless. And I do really think it was great for the 20-year anniversary that we get to see all the characters live action who were voice acting these characters for all these years. We get to see Squidward Patrick first, then we get Sandy, then we get Mr. Krabs, then we get SpongeBob, which SpongeBob made me laugh that I honestly did not expect him pulling out 6 arms. That was honestly just great. SpongeBob actually Oopsie loves him. They actually SpongeBob actually tries to pretty much get a Krabby. We'll try to get a closer look at the spatula, and Tom Kenny actually pretty much grabs SpongeBob and mistaking him for a slice of cheese. Of course, he didn't look, and pretty much they were able to grab the patty out and him, and pretty much it was time for lunch for them all. Sandy got mad, and then Plankton came. That was actually just hilarious. I absolutely love what they did with Plankton here. Plankton was in a complete green suit with a mask on, with only one eye poking out, not a whole too. And when and pretty much Sandy do a karate chop with her hand thing, which that was just hilarious with the whole green karate grab hand. That was just funny. And when Mr. Krabs pulled him out, that was just, and he had an eye patch on. That was honestly pure genius. I had no idea how they were going to make the voice actor for Plankton look, but I think they wanted to save his look for a surprise and everything. I honestly think it was hilarious, and the way how they did with all the characters acting, it acted like a SpongeBob thing. With the fun fact, I did actually heard originally the series was going to be in live action, but that pretty much became a cartoon instead of a live action thing, which would honestly last a whole lot longer than live action. But besides all that, that was honestly really great. Now, nonetheless, they are trying to get back, but sadly they get stuck in the aquarium because someone finally grabbed it, which it was kind of funny that no one noticed the tank. But still, nonetheless, it was the person who grabbed the tank was the voice actor of Pearl. I mean, did anyone notice that? Although it's surprising we did not get a close look up at her face. We actually see her from a distance when she grabbed the tank and when she put the tank in the fish tank aquarium. But still, nonetheless, they actually decided they think it's a prison for all fish, so they actually save all the fish by getting them out. And they pretty much had a goofy scene with Patrick falling in love with a fish. Which, if you think about it, have we seen Patrick fall in love with other fish before? I swear, love at first sight. Nonetheless, that's what happens. So they grab all the fish, knock their bus tank out, and pretty much get all the fish out, which, in all honesty, there would be a whole lot more fish than what we saw. But still, nonetheless, they drive back to the surface world, and we get to see, oh yeah, David Hasselhoff again. Patrick the Pirate comes at the beach, where pretty much they drive over David Hasselhoff's foot, and David Hasselhoff think it was Patrick, so we give him a smack, and then pretty much says, I'm going to live in a volcano type thing. Which honestly was kind of funny. They head back to the submarine where Fancy was, which apparently he was staying there. I thought they were just going to drive back. But nonetheless, they pretty much came back, and then after that, they went back to the whole entire SpongeBob house. And well, they actually got to the house messed up. Of course, no one complained about the mess, and SpongeBob's happy to see them all there. Of course, they're all exhausted because Sandy made them all dance, which they should have been back way sooner, but still. It was honestly great. Anyway, nonetheless, SpongeBob pretty much sees a giant present fall down from the sky, and guess what it is? It's Patrick's head. Seriously, it's literally Patrick's talking head. And you know what? It took 20 long years, but Patrick the Pirate, ever since the very first time we have saw Patrick back in the Christmas special, that was honestly the very first time he wanted to see his idol SpongeBob. Throughout many times then he failed trying to find SpongeBob. The 10-year anniversary he tried, but he failed as well. And at long last, 20 long years, he finally got to see SpongeBob. He must be happy, does he? Anyway, SpongeBob, Patrick, and pretty much everyone else starts singing his birthday song, which is pretty much similar to the intro but different, which is actually really great. Anyway, nonetheless, after the song was over, we pretty much get to see many people saying, Happy birthday, SpongeBob, and pretty much say goodwill. And pretty much after all that, what happens is they pretty much say, SpongeBob, how old are you? And then they pretty much cut it out before you get to give an answer. Of course, he's technically 34 years old if you took a look at his driver's license, what year he was born. So nonetheless, he was technically 14 when he first started the show. But besides all that, all we get left is saying thank you, Stephen Hilbert, the creator of the show SpongeBob SquarePants. Which I have to admit, that was a great way how to honor Stephen Hilbert, since this is the 20-year anniversary. So now I have to tell you all, what's my opinion about this? Well, I have to admit, I was kind of waiting for to see where we were going to see the voice actors. I did not really expect. The way I was expecting this, that they were going to see the Surface World, I did thought we were going to get more to see David Hasselhoff and everything, plus Patchy type thing, along with all the voice actors sooner. But I will admit, it was still really great and funny. I did think the Beans, though, was kind of like childish and everything. I mean, like, no, like, too much of it. Like, it went on for too long. And, like, it was reminding me of that new show they were doing, all that or all new thing, that I really did not like that at all. Ugh. But I will admit, I did think it was actually kind of great. I did love how come they were doing the 15 driving around. I did try and find that no one was noticing. And the side plot where the characters from back at the trying to decorate SpongeBob house, but nothing was able to work was absolutely great. It was honestly nice seeing how come we were seeing many of the characters from the older and newer seasons come into play. How they were all reacting, trying to get SpongeBob's birthday. We got to see Mindy, we got to see main characters, we got to see Plankton, and what else? Dance. I definitely love how we got to see Plankton look. I personally love how they made his restaurant just looking like it's some old shed, some widowed shed, which honestly was kind of smart, because let's be honest, that's not a real restaurant at all unless you're back in the old 1700s thing. I personally did love how we seen SpongeBob. I love how Sandy was acting, being live action, all the characters in live action. I did think it was really great as well. Funny, and I think it was really great how they honored the 20-year anniversary special. So, nonetheless, I do really think this was a good one. It was a lot better than 10-year anniversary special. But still, nonetheless, this was definitely great, like I just said. So, now that this is over, comment down below what you think about this episode of SpongeBob. Did you like it? Did you not? What was your opinion? What was your favorite part? Anything about this you want to talk about? Anyway, just let you know, this is Judge Game 44, signing out. Until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!